Hi, everybody. Matt Weatherly here from Public Sector Personnel Consultants with a brief overview of the countywide classification and compensation study. This is a study that has not been done for several years for the county. It will include a review of job descriptions, the conduct of a salary survey, and updating your salary plan and salary grade assignments. We wanted to highlight your opportunities to participate and provide some screen shares of a job questionnaire where you'll have an opportunity to review your job description. Briefly, again, the full name of our firm, Public Sector Personnel Consultants. We perform maybe 50 to 60 studies like this throughout the United States every year for cities, for counties, for school districts. We've done multiple studies for Santa Cruz County. We've done multiple studies for other counties throughout Arizona. We're currently working with the city of Yuma. We've performed multiple studies for the city of Nogales, for Tucson Unified School District. All that qualifies us to do is ask good questions around what factors influence the county's ability to recruit and to retain staff. A couple of highlights about the study and maybe kind of what it isn't before we talk about what it is. We're not reviewing performance. We're not reviewing staffing levels. Nobody's salary will be reduced as a result of the study. It's also important, I think, to note that because a study like this has not been done for quite some time, it is never intended to replace your annual budget. Any regular consideration that you might be given during the budget season for salary adjustments, whether that's merit or that's a step increase or a general increase, those things continue on. The studies come periodically. The last salary survey that we performed for the county was about 2015. And the last time job descriptions were reviewed was maybe about 2006 or 2008. So it has been some time since job descriptions have been reviewed. The results are really focused job by job to ensure competitive salary grades and ultimately competitive salaries for each position. So it's very rare, if not wildly uncommon, for the outcome of a study for all employees to see an increase as a result of the study. That should be what your regular budget is for. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the salary survey. The project can be broken into two major phases. One is a review of jobs and job descriptions. The second piece of it is conducting a salary survey. Those are our two big project components, but that leads to salary plan updating, a review of salary ranges for every position, and then perhaps talking about how do we implement change if salary ranges have fallen behind. How do we catch up? And that might take multiple budget years to do that. Briefly, position classification is kind of like what it sounds. It's the review of jobs. There are just over 100 different job descriptions that are currently in the system. We want to ensure that your job title accurately reflects the job duties and responsibilities that are assigned to your position. We want to make sure that your job description is up to date based on your job duties. So your input is very critical to this process because that content flows into job description updating, job matching out in the market, and ultimately recommendations for salary grades and salary ranges for all positions. The position analysis questionnaire that we have screenshots for will be your opportunity to review your job description, make notes. You can attach a marked up job description and indicate if there are some job duties that have changed or need to be added to your job description. You can work on the questionnaire as a group. You know the answers to each of the questions on the PAQ. It is about your job, and you are the expert in your job. The questionnaires overall should take about an hour to 2 hours to complete. Try not to take more than 2 hours to complete them. Work with your supervisors and managers in the upcoming weeks to ensure that you have time to complete the questionnaire and get that turned in. Nobody will change what you put on the questionnaire, but if you choose to work on them as a group, let's say you have 5 or 6 coworkers, you're all cross-trained, you perform the same job duties, perfectly acceptable for you to put all employee names on that questionnaire and have every employee sign off indicating that, yes, it is okay if all 5 or 6 of us are on the same job description and on the same pay range because our work is either cross-trained or we all perform the same job duties and responsibilities. Everyone will have an opportunity, either individually or as part of a group, to complete the questionnaire. If you wish to fill out your own questionnaire, that's wonderful. They will come in an email as a Word document in both English and in Spanish. They will also be available as paper copies, so we'll get those out to departments to hand out and ensure that employees have an opportunity to grab one. In case I forget to say it later, make sure that you keep a copy of your questionnaire. So if you complete a questionnaire and you hand it to your supervisor, make sure that you either put that on a copy machine or you save that to your desktop so that you have your work saved. It will go to your supervisor, it will go to human resources, then it will come to us. So make sure that you save a copy of your work. The salary survey portion will include us reviewing salary tables, pay ranges, and job descriptions, likely from other counties, perhaps the city, maybe if there's a local school district, or if there are other public employers, as well as the private sector. When we do that salary survey, as I mentioned, there are over 100 job titles. It's very common after maybe 6 to 8 years that when we do a survey of that many jobs, maybe we're competitive for some positions. Maybe our salary ranges are okay for some positions, but we have fallen behind market for others. What that triggers is a review of salary range placements on your salary tables. So let's say that we have a job that's currently in a grade 5 or a grade 6, but it's surveying low. If we keep the salary table, we may adjust that job to a grade 7 or to a grade 8 or to a grade 9, depending on what the market is telling us. Now, when we move salary ranges, we may or may not be able to move actual salaries, but our sensitivity for implementation will include range penetration. It will include looking at actual salaries compared to your pay range and discuss if we move your salary range, can we also move your salary to ensure there's room for newer people, to ensure that we didn't accidentally pay a new hire the same thing as a 5 or a 10-year employee. We'll be looking at salary range placement for each position with the help of salary survey data. So again, when we survey 100 jobs, maybe some jobs are at 100% of market and other jobs are at 82% of market. When we're done, we want to ensure that we can be as competitive as possible when comparing to other counties, maybe the city, the private sector, whoever it is the county is competing with for your time and for your talents and for your experience. We also try to define the market a little bit. Who is it that we're competing with? Oftentimes those are nearby or regional agencies where you wouldn't necessarily have to, move your house or change school districts for the kids, and you have an opportunity to perform the same or similar job duties. Is that the city? Is that the school district? Is it the private sector? Maybe there's some other public employers in the area that we can look at. Those are true competitors. We may also look at comparators. So other counties that either have similar population, similar demographics, similar cost of living. We'll try to stay within the state of Arizona. We shouldn't need to go any farther than that to collect data, but we'll be looking at collecting job descriptions, organization charts, and salary plans from other agencies. The position analysis questionnaire, you will have some time to work on them. We'll establish a couple of initial due dates, and these could change a little bit, but we'll look for you to turn in a questionnaire to your supervisor by December 9th, and your supervisor or manager to get them collected and turned into human resources by December 16th. Again, you can work on them as a group. We will get both this video message out as well as attached questionnaires in English and in Spanish from the or via email. So if you do have a county email, we will have a chance to get that forwarded out to everybody. Otherwise, your department will have paper copies. We will take them in Word, we will take them electronically, we will take them in paper copy, whatever we might need. The questionnaire is designed to follow and review a job description. So I'll just go briefly through each of these sections to give you a little bit of an idea. Up top and on page 1 here is just some housekeeping, your name, your job title, your department. If you do have a work email address or a work phone number, and we have some follow-up questions, just give us an idea of how we might be able to track you down and ask you some questions. The first section here is a high-level question. When somebody asks you what you do for a living, what do you tell them? Just 3 to 5 sentences, kind of high level. If you are performing in 2 or more distinct roles, let's say that half the time you're doing some accounting work, but the other half you might be the IT help desk person for the county. Those are 2 different jobs. And I know it's kind of a goofy example, but we're kind of aware of people wearing multiple hats or taking on more than one role and being expected to work across maybe a broader set of job duties than just your job title might suggest. We don't need 2 questionnaires if that's the case, but if you want to list out some job duties that go with job number 1, and then some job duties that go with job number 2. Just give us an idea if that's, 50% of your time is on one task and 50% is on another, or if it's 70% and 30%. Give us some insight there. The next page will look at the body of your job description. Oftentimes job descriptions or job posting have bullet points that might list out 6, 8, 10 different job duties that describe the tasks that you're performing every day. If you want to organize your thoughts on a separate piece of paper from the most frequently performed job duties to the less frequently performed job duties, or what you believe to be the most important to the least important or less important job duties, it doesn't necessarily have to add up to 100%. You can also attach a marked up job description. Now, don't feel like you have to copy and paste from your current job description, but you can get those from human resources if they're not already out on your intranet site or intranet site. But if you want to take a look at those and get an idea of the type of language that's on there, take that information, you can mark it up, you can say see attached, or you can list out here. Now my screenshot just has 6 boxes, but if you want to tell us about 10 things or 12 things or however granular you would like to get with describing your job duties, put those there. What do you have to know and what do you have to be good at in order to perform your job? So customer service skills, computer skills. Are you referring to a procedure manual, an owner's manual for a specialized piece of equipment? Think back to when you were hired. What does your job require, or what should it require in the way of previous experience? Is there education? Are there certifications that might be required for your position? Maybe a commercial driver's license, or maybe you have a notary stamp, or maybe you have to have some specialized training and licensure in order to access a criminal database. So list that out there. Tell us if you have to have that when you apply for the position, or maybe after you've been in the job for a while. Are you working with any specialized pieces of equipment? Are we operating county vehicles, hand tools, specialized computer equipment? Physically, if someone were to apply for your position, do they need to be able to stand, lift, carry, bend, climb, drive, use hand tools? List out any physical requirements associated with your position. If you're working out of doors, if you're working out in extreme heat or cold, or you're working around hazardous chemicals, standing water, any combative or hostile individuals, where there's a potential for physical harm, list that out there. We switch gears for the last few sections. When you come to work every day, do you receive specific work instructions? Do you work in close proximity to your supervisor? Do you see that person on a regular basis? Or maybe you work out in the field and your supervisor works back in an office. When do you and your supervisor get back together and review your work? So just a sentence or two there. And then somewhat lastly, do you make some significant decisions? Are you expected to sign off on some critical paperwork or applications, or approving some paperwork somewhere? What comes up that your supervisor or manager wishes to be the one to sign off on that? Is there a potential liability to any decisions that you're expected to make? So that third question there, what are the most difficult or important decisions that you're expected to make? And then if you have any budgetary or purchasing responsibilities, list that out for us. Who do you interact with? So other county departments perhaps, or outside of the county government, are you interacting with residents, customers, citizens, vendors, other counties, the state, the federal government, Border Patrol, the school district? Who is it that you're coming into contact with? Sign and date, as I mentioned, if you fill this out as a group and you want to attach a signature page with multiple signatures on there, that's great. If you are a supervisor or a leader of others, tell us about that. If you are responsible for other employees, full-time or part-time, if you are responsible for the work that's being performed by contractors, list that out there. Even if it's a small percentage of time, give us an idea if there's some contractors or vendors where you're signing off on and approving that they get paid for that work. If you have responsibilities for other staff, maybe you don't have the final say when it comes to hiring or promotion or approving time off, but does your input get considerable weight from your manager, from your department head? So there's some yes or no, check the box here if you do have some staff responsibilities. The last page will be the only spot on the questionnaire where somebody else may make a comment. Now, we're asking supervisors and managers not to change anything that you put on your questionnaire, but if there are things that you forgot, we want to have another set of eyes on the questionnaire to ensure that your job description gets credit for any other additional job duties and responsibilities that you might have forgotten. So a couple of key things again on the questionnaire. Mid-December is when we'll look for those back. The deadlines could, move around a little bit. We always have the holidays to navigate. An hour or two on the questionnaire. Again, you can work on it as a group and turn in a group questionnaire or an individual questionnaire. Overall, the project will span, a good 4 to 5 months. So we'll be working on this through kind of the winter and the spring. But your input is very critical in our ability to review job titles, update job descriptions, conduct a salary survey based on your actual job duties and responsibilities, recommend salary grades or salary range placements for each position, and then review any potential impacts to your salary associated with moving your salary ranges and salary grades. That, I think, kind of as fast as I can talk, gives us at least an initial introduction. We will also work on a recording in Spanish. I will thank you all in advance for filling out the questionnaire. If you do have any questions, start with your supervisor. They can always route questions through human resources. I will stop the recording now, but hopefully we'll get a chance to interact with everybody just as soon as we can. Thank you again for your time.